Afternoon on Kccaa 1050 AM.
This is Kccaa Loma Linda, the station that leaves no listener behind. CNBC News is next, a courtesy of buysellmakeoffer.com, where you can post a video about items you have for sale. Sign up now. It's free.
December is still on the table. After that announcement, stocks took a tumble but quickly rebounded, and those blue-chip Dow stocks ended the day 198 points higher, led by Apple shares up 4% following strong earnings. The Nasdaq up 65. Some earnings misses after the bell from camera maker GoPro, Buffalo Wild Wings, and PayPal. But biotech drug maker Amgen easily topped earnings forecasts thanks to sales of its rheumatoid arthritis drug Enbrel. Deutsche Bank, Germany's biggest, is eliminating its shareholder dividend for this year and next as it looks to restore growth and put some past scandals behind it. Oil up 6% today, near $46 a barrel on signs that the 40-year ban on exporting U.S. crude may be coming to an end pretty soon. I'm Tom Busby, CNBC Radio.
Ringing in the ears, all-natural ring relief helps. Our customers tell the story.
Peter C. says, "This is the first thank you I have ever written to a company. Your ring relief product has greatly reduced my tinnitus. Thank you for the good night's sleep."
James H. wrote, "This is the first time I've been free of ear ringing in over a year."
These are unsolicited testimonials from our customers. No gimmicks. If you suffer from tinnitus, join the thousands who found relief with all-natural ring relief.
Ring relief is available at Kroger, CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens, and Walmart. Or go to ringrelief.com for ring relief eardrops.
There are no guarantees in love, but there is a guarantee from EH Plus by eHarmony, our new personal matchmaking service. At EH Plus, your own personal matchmaker gets to know you so well, we can guarantee introductions that will be satisfying and exciting. EH Plus goes far beyond regular online dating sites, and that's a guarantee. Visit us at ehplus.com/love or call 1-855-930-LOVE.
Consider this your invitation to sell. At buysellmakeoffer.com, you can sell as much as you want for the next 60 days without paying any fees whatsoever. Sound incredible? It is, and it's true. Buysellmakeoffer.com is the new exciting way to sell your stuff online. Make extra money right now. Sell your old car, furniture, video games, household items, clothes, even your home. Sell anything that's legal. Load up your stuff to sell right now at buysellmakeoffer.com. This is your official invitation to get on board to sell your stuff right now. Free for the next 60 days. And once you see how easy it is, you'll want to sign up for more because there are no item fees. That's right. Take this opportunity to move items from the other guys and sell it for free. You might even win a Samsung tablet, Amazon gift cards, and other cool prizes. BuySellMakeOffer.com is the future of online selling. You can use Skype to talk to your buyer or seller. Plus, you can use video to showcase your items. BuySellMakeOffer.com.
And good afternoon. It's 3:03. I'm Di Rice with the latest in live local news here on KCAA 1050 AM. A 14-year-old girl escaped a would-be abductor who tried to pull her into a car on a Moreno Valley street. The man confronted her shortly before 11 a.m. yesterday near Paris Boulevard and Northern Dancer Drive, about midway between March Air Force Air Reserve Base, that is, and Lake Paris. She was walking home when a car pulled up behind her, and the man got out of his car. He grabbed the victim's hand and began pulling her toward the vehicle. The girl got away, ran home, and called 911. The assailant was described as a muscular black man, about 5'9", 200 pounds, with sideburns down to his earlobes. And a 2013 lawsuit accused 37 school districts in California of failing to provide at least 200 minutes of state-required PE in first through sixth grade every 10 school days. The district settled the case in February, agreeing to take steps to prove that they are complying with the law. The lawsuit prompted Assembly Bill 1391, which took effect immediately after Governor Jerry Brown signed it. The settlement requires districts to monitor elementary school teachers' time on PE for 3 years. Teachers must also post their PE schedules and sign forms stating that they are providing the required minutes. Principals also have to conduct unannounced classroom visits to verify that the rules are being followed. Desert Sands and Palm Springs Unified school districts were named in the suit. Inland Empire weather, variable clouds with us both today and tomorrow. By Friday, they should be dissipating, leaving us with a sunny and breezy Friday afternoon. Highs all days in the low 80s. Currently, we are at 77 degrees. We are dropping fast. Looking at your drive, just a little stop and go as you make your way through Miraloma on the 60 eastbound between Pedley and Pyrite. Through Ontario, a little stop and go on the northbound 15 between the 60 and Harupa Street. And more stop and go on the 215 northbound between Cactus and Alessandro Boulevard in Moreno Valley. That is the very latest with news, weather, and traffic on the station that leaves no listener behind, KCAA 1050 AM.
What have I learned so far? I've learned that dropping out of high school was my decision. But as a single mom, that decision affected more than just me. To set an example, I had to be the example. I found a free high school diploma program at Learn for Life that fits around my busy life. I have a team of teachers, tutors, and counselors that really care. I learn at my pace in an environment that is safe and comfortable. What have I learned so far? I've learned that I can change my life.
Are you 14 to 19 years old and looking for a free high school diploma program with flexible meeting times? This program allows you to keep your job or important family responsibilities while earning your high school diploma. If you've fallen behind on credits or dropped out of school completely, get back on track with free tutoring, a caring faculty, and one-on-one attention. For more information on how to reach your graduation goal, visit learnforlife.org. That's LEARN, the number 4, LIFE.org. Or enroll today by calling 877-360-LEARN. That's 877-360-LEARN.
Greetings. Welcome to What's It All About? This is Dr. Donald Jolly Gabriel on KCAA 1050 on your AM radio dial and 106.5 on your FM dial. And there's another FM station now. Is it 106.3? Am I right?
Not quite yet. We're working on it,
Oh,
though.
you're working on it. All right. So it's coming up soon.
But it will be 106.3.
106.3. So we're going to be all over the world. That's a wonderful thing. Anyway,
and don't forget KCAAradio.com.
KCAAradio.com. That's podcast, right?
That's right.
And you can see us on video.
That's right.
Amen. The
On
whole
Ustream.
world can see us.
Yes.
We better be real careful. Did you shave, Rodney?
I did, fortunately.
This
yes.
is Rodney Brunken
I
from
came prepared.
Asheville, North Carolina. Tell us about Asheville, North Carolina.
Well, I would be very happy to do that. I'm actually, I'm not a native of Southern California, but I have lived in Southern California for over 23 years. And in the last 12 months, I have spent 8 of those months over in Asheville, North Carolina, where I have been with, among others, my 3-year-old granddaughter. That has been a delightful experience, and I've started writing a book based on my experience with her over there. But Asheville has been, and I believe still is, considered to be one of the top 10 places in the United States to live. It's nestled up in the Blue Ridge Mountains. It has a delightful climate to it. This time of year, it's absolutely gorgeous. Fall colors are in full bloom, if you will. The Blue Ridge Parkway runs above it over the crests of the mountains high above Asheville. Asheville itself has quite an interesting history. There are a lot of literary connections there. F. Scott Fitzgerald used to hang out there. His wife actually died there in a fire. Al Capone at one time was a frequenter of the Grove Park Inn in Asheville, North Carolina. There is a golf course connected with that hotel that Al Capone used to play on. And the gentleman who at one time was his caddy said that Al Capone as a golfer was not very good. In fact, they would say about him that Al Capone could shoot anything except par. But a lot of arts, a lot of culture, a lot of Appalachian arts and culture, as well as what we would consider to be just our usual classical symphony, that kind of thing. Anyway, it's been a beautiful experience. I'm glad to be back here at the moment and joining you, Dr. Jolly, on your program.
We should all go to Asheville for a weekend, right?
That would be great. Actually, Asheville, North Carolina also has a history of homeopathic healing. And it still is. People come from far and wide.
We like that. Are
Yes.
are they conscious of what to eat and what not to eat?
Absolutely.
What to do to their body?
Absolutely.
That's very, very
Yes.
important. Do we have Dr. J on the line? Dr.
Everybody hear me?
Dr. J, everybody can hear you. You rose the dead all the way from dead to life.
That's fantastic.
You like
fantastic.
that? That's a good thing. I have been confused listening to our radio line. The line is for questions or points of discussion. Area code 949-680-1915. You just call that line, leave a message. We generally won't call you back unless you ask us to. You leave the message of what you want to talk about on the show, and we eventually get around to it. So, Jay, do you have anything
Well,
from
we've
the
got
line?
people complaining.
Always
about
complaining. Why
purpose.
are they complaining?
Well, they feel that their life isn't fulfilling and such, and so they get into the aspect of purpose. And of course, this is one of my favorite subjects because people go to church on Sunday and they say the Lord's Prayer, for example, and they don't even know what they're saying or why. They don't realize that when they start talking to God and they make their introductions, and they say, "Hello, Heavenly Father," and then they say, or we say, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." They don't realize that is the most profound charge that humanity has ever had, which is, very simply, to make heaven on earth.
Yeah, but we don't understand that because nobody really, and I don't say nobody, but not enough people teach children the possibilities. And I like to talk in terms of faith as being a possibility. I think for me, in my mind and in my reality, it is a reality. But it's still a belief system, and a belief is always a possibility, and we don't promulgate possibility like that enough. In our school systems, we can't even say the name of God anymore. We're not supposed to pray anymore. We're not, we're crazy. I think it's absolutely nuts. I think possibility is a wonderful thing to teach, and the possibility of faith and hope and God and eternal life can give meaning to life, where the possibility of just nothing can be hopeless. And I think that's really sad.
It is indeed. It is indeed. And I think it's at the core of many of the problems with people and their depression and such like that, because they have no purpose in life. They have no level of understanding or appreciation of life. They don't realize how important it is to help your fellow human beings and to help all life and to be kind and to be gentle, because, when you're like that, things happen. Good things happen to you. And when you give out like that, you will receive, even if you're consciously aware of it or not. I mean, it's just the way it is. It's, Einstein put it so well, and I said this a few shows back, but I'm going to say it again. Einstein said, we have a choice. We have a choice, and the big choice is we believe that this is a hostile universe or a benevolent universe. The choice is ours.
Well, I hope we can make some good choices. When I talked to you on the phone earlier, you brought up some things that were on the telephone line, and one of them was somebody suggested we talk about what it means to be born again. And then one of the other things was you mentioned that you had several questions about people wanting to talk about hell and what is hell. And we haven't really done that, so I think we'll do that a little bit.
Let's go ahead and start with that. Start with the first one.
You want to start with hell?
Start with hell.
All right, let's start with hell.
What the hell are we talking about?
Well, we're talking about hell. That's what we're talking about. And it's a very interesting thing to note that hell in the Aramaic language doesn't have a whole lot to do with fire. The meaning of the word doesn't have anything to do with fire. It has to do with a sense of regret, of horrible, horrible regret and sadness and a situation that is reversible. Acknowledging a situation that is reversible, or a decision that you made, or something that you did that ended up in a real hopeless place. And I think that's very interesting, because we look at hell as being fire and brimstone and whatever, unquenchable fire that burns us up forever. And I'm not trying to make any judgments on this, but I don't believe that that's what hell is. I believe that hell is our rejection of God. I believe that we have the right, and it's very interesting. I like to think about how incredible a creative God who put us into existence and loves us because we burst forth from himself, just like we burst forth from our mothers. Our mothers and fathers cooperated so that we could gestate and burst out, and that's what we did. And I believe that God is so incredibly powerful and the very essence of love that humanity and life and creation just keeps bursting out of him. And that's a very interesting concept, but it's one that I hold and one that I believe in quite a lot. And, you know, Aramaic culture is my culture, and I understand the metaphors and the language a whole lot better than somebody who's never approached it before. And it's very interesting.
And, you know, that's one of the problems, because, you see, it really leaves the door wide open for misinterpretation, which I think many Christians are suffering from because they do not have the Aramaic background that you have.
You know, speaking of Aramaic, there's an interesting a message that was on the line a couple of weeks ago, and it had to do with a discussion we had months ago about forgiveness. And the gentleman that left this message said that after I got your definition of forgiveness and started doing it, it changed my life. He said, I feel like a different person now. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. And we can all do that, because when we really understand what the word means, which is shabag in Aramaic, and we can understand why Jesus was always saying that we have to shabag, so much so that someone, I think it was James, I'm not sure, who asked him how many times should we forgive? Should we forgive 7 times? And Jesus answered, no, should forgive 7 times 70. And 7 times 70 is sort of a metaphorical statement that really means you should just always go on forgiving. You should never stop.
That's right. It's like pray without ceasing.
Exactly. But the thing that with definition of the word forgive is that our particular culture looks at forgiveness as going to somebody and saying, you know, I let you off the hook. I forgive you. You're off the hook. It's okay what you did. And that's not...
Yeah, and it's okay for you to do it again. See, I take exception
to
that.
That's one of the obvious interpretations. But you see, what it really means is, the word shabag means not to do that. It means for you to let go from your own heart and inner self the baggage that the hurt somebody else inflicted on you did to you or engulfed you in. So in other words, it's let go of the crap. Let it go. Don't hold on to it. Because holding on to it is what hurts you. And
yes, in a way, it's like forgiving yourself.
Yeah, and forgiving yourself is a good way to put it, but you have to also remember that you're directing anger and hostility and resentment at someone, and you really need to let that go, because that's representative of what you're doing to yourself by holding on to what it was that was done to you. Does that make sense to you?
It makes perfect sense. It's the old adage. This is so good. Everybody, point your finger. Take your hand and take your index finger, the first finger, and point it, and now look at the other 3 fingers. They're pointing at you.
That's right. They pointed at me. I tried it. So I think with forgiveness, we need to remember, practice letting go of things. Practice not talking about them anymore. Practice letting them go. Let them out of your being, out of your heart, out of your consciousness. What'll happen is we will be free from them. Now let's get back to hell for a minute. I don't have answers. I don't purport to have answers. But what I share are possibilities. And I share the possibility of hell as being a sense of regret that we're able to choose to reject God. We're able to choose that. And God, in his infinite, and this is all possibility, and this is my own opinion right now, as well as the opinion of many theologians as well, that the possibility has to do with our faith. Our faith, everything we believe is a possibility. It's not a reality yet because it hasn't been confirmed to us. We haven't experienced it. Our senses haven't been able to confirm it. If you tell me, and I know now that there is what I'm going to say, but if I didn't know it, I would just believe it. If you say to me, there are symbols of NBC Network in back of you, on the video screen that people are watching on the podcast, there are colorful symbols of the NBC logos and symbols, and everybody can see them. And I would believe you. But still, it would only be a possibility because you could be lying to me. Only when I turn around and confirm their existence by letting them through my eyeballs do I really confirm that that possibility is a reality now. And that's the difference between faith and a reality. Faith is acknowledging that something is a possibility. And that's a beautiful thing. And living with a possibility gives us hope. It gives us hope. I have an interesting story that happened to me one time at UCLA Extension when I gave a lecture there as a guest. It was almost a full day program on spirituality. And I was talking about hope, and I was talking about faith, and I was talking about how important it is. And at the end of the day, we had a group of atheists there. At the end of the day, people raised their hands and asked questions, and I handled the questions as best I could because, I'm not an oracle of knowledge. I'm a person who shares possibility. So this atheist woman, very big leader in the atheist movement, raised her hand, and she was very well dressed, very beautiful lady over sitting to my right-hand side as I faced the audience. And I acknowledged her, and she stood up, and she said, you have really, really entertained me today. I've been here all day. I've heard every word you said, and I want to tell you that you have entertained me. You've really taught me a few things. I've learned some things. But she said, you have a lot of energy and vitality, and you seem very bright. And I want to tell you, she said, I have to tell you, I feel compelled. She used those words. I feel compelled to tell you that you are wasting your time with all your faith in God. You need to put that time and energy into making this world work for you, because all you've done is create a crutch for yourself. You have a crutch. Your faith is a crutch. And I didn't know quite how to handle that. And she was, nice. She thought she was doing me a favor, telling me to put my energy and my vitality at making the world my goal and becoming powerful and rich and all those things that I could do in the world rather than be concerned with the spiritual things. And I looked at her, and these words came to me. I said, well, thank you for telling me that I have a crutch. I appreciate how perceptive you are. And I love my crutch. I keep my crutch with me all the time. Every morning I get my crutch out when I go out in the house, and my crutch helps me to get over the slippery pavement, go over the precipices and the rocks and the uneven places in the road. I can cross the creek without fear of falling over. I love my crutch. My crutch gives me hope that I have the ability to overcome some of the things that I may not be able to overcome without it. And if I drop dead at this very moment in time, and there is absolutely nothing to what I believe, I will have had my crutch all my life to support me, and I won't even know that there's nothing to it Because if there's nothing to it, I'll be dead, and I won't be aware of anything, spiritually or otherwise. And it must have hit the crowd pretty powerfully, because they all started to clap and clap and clap, and they stood up and screamed and yelled and clapped because they got the point. It gave me hope. And hope is really important. And I think everybody understands that hope is important. So I wanted to acknowledge that. And then this other thing, there were several things that were on the line in different ways. And everybody calls and talks and babbles a little bit, which is fine. I don't mind that at all. But I have to listen to a lot to get a little bit out of it so that I can write down some key words. So one of the key words was born again. It was about, we say, being born again. It's necessary to be born again. What does that mean? Well, I don't really know what it means. And I don't know if anybody knows what it means. But I have a possibility, and the possibility is backed up by many theologians and some religious traditions as well, that being born again is waking up to the principles of life that Jesus Christ taught us. Waking up to those principles. And some say, well, it means absolutely that you must be baptized with water. That may be. I don't think God is so stringent. I think that baptism can take place, and of course the Roman Church teaches and has for eons and eons that there are several kinds of baptisms. That there can be baptism of desire, there can be baptism of martyrdom, they call it baptism of blood, there can be baptism of water, but if there's baptism of water without eventually any recognition of what it is or buying into the teachings of Christ, is it useful? I don't know. I don't know if it's useful. I think we have to be honest to say that we don't know. What does it mean? What does it mean to be baptized? What does it mean to be born again? I'll tell you what it means to me. What being born again means to me is being born into the reality of the teachings of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ taught us how to live our life in peace and harmony, how to work together, how not to piss each other off all the time, how not to down each other, how not to criticize each other, how to build each other up, how to respect each other, how not to hurt each other. And I maintain vigorously, and I'll bet you would maintain vigorously, that nobody in the world wants to be treated contrary to the way Jesus Christ taught us to treat each other. And to me, that removes it from a religious aspect. It puts it into the aspect of reality, to the reality of living our lives. The rule is to live your life that way. In the early times of Christianity, Christianity was known as the way. And it is, because Jesus taught a way of living. If we live that way, we would be incredible. Our world has never worked. It's never worked. Think about that. It has never worked. There was a time when a study was done. It was during Archbishop Sheen's lifetime, and he was a lecturer when I was doing some theology work, and I was a student. And he was a great American lecturer and speaker. Archbishop Sheen was the most watched man on television in the United States for many, many years. He had a show called Life is Worth Living. And he talked about Jesus' teachings all the time and all the ramifications of God and possibility. It was about incredible possibility. And that is something that we need to remember. But I want to emphasize to us that my position on being born again is that we accept the teachings of Jesus as a way of life. As a way of life. Does that mean that we have to acknowledge and know Jesus Christ and accept him as our Lord and Savior? I personally don't believe that, because I don't think it's possible for everybody to do that, and I don't believe that God will condemn people to hell and a concept of hell in some of our brothers and sisters' minds is to be burned and burned and burned and burned and burned and burned forever and ever and ever for all eternity and never to be burned up. So you have eternal fire. You never get burned up. You never get consumed. You just howl and scream. I can't vision a God like that. And I think that a lot of the things that are present in the Scripture, we have to go back to the autographical text to understand, because the language has mutilated and bastardized so many things. And things change in translation. They change in interpretation. And we need to really ask the Spirit of God to guide us, to guide us. What are these things? What do they mean? How can I live? And I get criticized all the time because I have such possibility. And Pope Francis got himself in hot water recently when he expressed the possibility that people who are not going through the rigor that some of us say we have to go through, if they live a good life and they follow the teachings of Jesus, will also join their other brothers and sisters in an eternity of appropriateness and reward, and will not suffer. And I think that's very logical, very, very logical. And remember, none of us know. We believe, and we kill for what we believe, and we don't know it to be absolute. That's absolutely crazy. So anyway, enough of that babbling for me. I don't know. Is Jay still on the line? No. Did I make him hang up? Oh, goodness gracious. I think we ought to get him back, because he knows from the guidelines on our machine what people are saying. But at any rate, I also have a couple of announcements I wanted to make. I've offered to give away the book, Voice of an Angel, and we've given away quite a few of them. It's quite a beautiful book. And I understand that there were some problems with some of the mailings, and I want anybody who has requested Voice of an Angel and has not received it, to please call 949-680-1915, and I'll give it again, area code 949-680-1915, and tell us that you have not received the book. Be sure we have your name and address so that we can send it out. It may have been sent to the wrong address. So, never know what happened. But we want to get you that book. So I want to be sure that you know to call 949-680-1915, and on that message line, leave the message you did not receive your book and you want it. Or if you want one, tell us and we'll send it to you.
That was beautiful, because we just had a caller who wanted you to repeat that number. And just as they asked, you must have read them or mind.
I read that mind, man.
And
I did. Do we have another caller on the line?
Actually, we have Jay back on the line.
Oh, we have Dr. J. Dr. J, come
Yes, the telephone system was not adequate to the occasion, so I had to redial.
Oh, the devil probably did it, because I was talking about God and faith and possibility.
That's
probably the
it.
devil cut you off. But that's okay. That's okay. I think the devil doesn't.
So continue. You covered the one side of it, but you didn't cover the rest of it.
Well, tell me what I didn't cover. But let me remind everybody that I'm talking about possibility, my own belief systems, possibility. I was educated in theology. I lived in a monastery. I went through a lot of scripture learning and trying to understand and translations and all that. But still, I only speak in possibility, and I only speak for my own personal views. And I want everybody to understand that. I'm not trying to convince everybody that's what they need to do. I'm just simply sharing what I am and who I am with everybody else. And Jay, you heard me mention about the Angel book. I just want everybody to be sure that they get that book if they want it. It's quite an incredible book, and the story behind it is in the foreword. And one day I'll read the foreword to you. The book is magnificent. How all that happened to me is an absolute miracle. So I want everybody to get that book if they like it. And it's a good book for daily meditations, too. It's kind of an artsy book, but the information in it is really beautiful. And then there is something else that I wanted to do. One of the sponsors of our program with treating brain-injured soldiers, one of the financial sponsors, asked me if I would be willing to give dinner for two at the Castaways restaurant, with me, of course. So that means there'll be three of us. And he will sponsor a dinner at the Castaways for us if we had a telephone drawing. And I said, well, what is a telephone drawing? And he said, well, the easiest way for you, because you have that telephone line, is to have people call in and say they want to be listed in the drawing, for the drawing, and then you have your assistant Cheryl make up a ticket for each one, put it in a big basket, and have a drawing. So that's what we decided to do. So Cheryl is going to put down names on little cards that we have printed, and then put in a basket, and we'll pull them out. And they're going to do the drawing, I think, in 2 weeks. So anybody who's interested can call 949 680 1915. I'm saying it deliberately. Area code 949 680 1915, and say, I want to put my name in for the drawing. And that'll be a dinner for two at the Castaways restaurant up on the hill in North San Bernardino. And that's a beautiful place, and they have really good food. So it should be a lot of fun. So anybody who wants to be a part of that, please take advantage of that offer. I'll give you the number again, 949 680 1915. Okay, Jay, do you have anything else to offer? Are you
frankly, you kind of caught me off guard because I had some notes, but I misplaced them, and I don't have them right now in front of me, and so I'm having a bit of a senior moment. So I'm at a disadvantage. I don't know quite how to deal with that. But, we can certainly continue with this aspect of purpose.
Well, sure, and we can open it up, too. Let me give everybody...
When you have purpose in your life can change completely because you have focus and you have a sense of meaning. And
I'll get on to that.
It brings your life all together.
I'll get on to that, Jay. I'm going to talk about purpose in a minute. I'm going to talk about my own personal observation and opinion, but I want to remind everybody, too, that... I want you to write that phone number down, so I'm going to give it again. Hope you have a pen, a pencil, a pin to prick your finger so you can write it in blood. Area code 949 680 1915. Okay, we talk about purpose. We've done it before. We've talked about purpose before on the show. I believe purpose can be determined by observation. Observation is the scientific method. Experimentation, of course, is a basic scientific method, but unless you observe experimentation, you can't come to any conclusion. So observation is the bottom line of it all. So if you want to know the purpose of life and existence and reality, just look at life, existence, and reality. What does it do? Every single thing you can look at that is active in any way, a seed, a tree, a bush, a person, the ocean even, takes whatever it can get and gives it all back. Everything that can be observed as interacting with nature does that. What does the ocean do? Well, it receives water from every source on earth that it can possibly receive water from, starting with rain, starting with then rivers, whether they're on top or underground. All sources of water eventually flow back to the ocean. So the ocean is taking every single thing it can get. Every bit of water it's capable of getting, it gets one way or another. And then what does it do? It gives it all back. How does it do that? It's called evaporation. Evaporation from the sea is the main source of rain on the earth. And when the rain falls down, it doesn't just get things wet. It's magic. It promotes life. Without water, death is promoted. With water, the crops grow, the trees grow, the bushes grow, everything grows. It's marvelous. So the oceans take all they can get, all the water from all sources, and they give it all back. That's their purpose, and that's what they do. Every plant does that. Every person must do that. That is our purpose. And when we do not comply with our purpose, we become unpurposeful and we suffer psychologically, emotionally, physiologically, theologically, in every possible way. We feel the result of not complying with purpose. So is that what you're talking about in terms of looking at purpose, Dr. J?
Yes, well, I think I frankly, in many ways, I like the way that you present it, because you present it in a way that's easy for the public to understand it. Whereas with me, it's a little more of the pill's a little bigger. And,
yeah, well, you've been educated,
I like
Jay.
the way you do it better than the way I do it.
No, but you've been educated, Jay. You've been educated as a scientist, as a theologian, as a psychologist, and your education process leads you to a more technical way of dealing with it. I'm being a simple Simon. That's what I'm doing. I'm just being a simple Simon. I'm looking and I'm saying, hey, this is what it does. This is what it does. Anyway, this is Dr. Donald Jolly Gabriel on KCAA 1050 on your AM radio dial, 106.5 on your FM dial, and soon to be on another FM station. And we're going to take a quick break. And Dr. J, when we get back, I want you to talk.
Okay.
This is KCAA.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Behind on your payments or barely making minimums? Do your massive interest payments have you running like mad in circles? How long can you keep it up? Stop running. Let the Thomas & Law Group carefully plan your escape. The Thomas & Law Group has proven itself for over 18 solid years, helping thousands of people like you and me reclaim our financial future. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and offices in all 50 states. And the best part? There are no upfront fees at all. You won't pay a dime until the job's done. No upfront costs, no monthly fees, no banking fees. No other law firm does that. I'm a paid spokesperson, not a lawyer, and every case is different. But really, if you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, call the Thomas & Law Group right away for a free, no-obligation consult with a trained legal analyst at 800-460-9790. Call now because you're tired of running in circles. 800-460-9790. 800-460-9790.
You're listening to KCAA Loma Linda at 106.5 FM, K293CF Moreno Valley.
Hyperbaric oxygen therapy has only lately begun to gain recognition for treatment of chronic degenerative health problems, including stroke, diabetic ulcers, wound healing, brain injury, and many other disorders. Whenever blood flow and oxygen delivery to vital organs is reduced, healing can potentially be aided with hyperbaric oxygen therapy.
Are you a candidate for hyperbaric oxygen therapy?
Contact Dr. Donald Jolly Gabriel, PhD, for a free consultation and see if this groundbreaking therapy can help you. Mention KCAA and get a free gift. Call toll-free 1-877-423-7986. That's 1-877-423-7986.
Or go to hyperbaric-solutions.com. That's www.hyperbaric-solutions.com.
Call toll-free right now, 1-877-423-7986. Hyperbaric Oxygen Therapy.
Hey, this is Di Rice. The staff here at KCAA wants to remind you that Halloween night, Sunday morning, will be time to set our clocks to standard time. Digital clocks should automatically fall backward. If your clocks don't reset themselves, be sure to turn them back 1 hour. And
While you're checking your alarm clock radio, make sure you set it to wake up to the station that leaves no listener behind. KCAA 1050 AM and now 106.5 FM.
Greetings, salutations, and welcome back to What's It All About? I don't even know what it's all about. I hope somebody would call and tell me. Don't forget, if you have anything you want to say or share with us, our KCAA toll-free call-in number is 1-888-909-1050. That is 1-888-909-1050. So if anybody wants to call in, we always welcome your calls. Anyway, Dr. J, what other things have people been saying that you can remember from the line?
Well, as people get older, they reflect back on their life, and it seems that the single thing that comes out is something you were talking about earlier, and we can both expand on it, and that is this thing of regret. You were using it in relation to hell. Well, we make our own hell because one of the things that older people suffer from, people who have lived, say, have gone through midlife and say are, in their 40s or beyond, this starts to nag at them and gnaws at them and can be the seed of great unhappiness and can affect their sense of value and can affect this idea of purpose that we've been talking about. And that is having regret, and it's something that I think is one of the most powerful negative things. And the saddest part of the whole thing is it's self-inflicted.
Well, it is okay, but what can we do about it? Say it's already happened. We've already done something that we regret. What do we do?
Well, I have what I call the 3-second rule, and I'll tell you it's a powerful thing. And everyone that I've ever talked to that has applied it and that has tried it out, it has worked for them. And it's based on this. And this is powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. Let's go back to the basics. We all have choice. What people don't understand is how much they have to say about their life. But it's all based on choice. Our life, if we were to us, no matter how old we are, no matter what, at the end of our life, if we look back on it realistically and honestly, we will find it is the consequences of all our choices. That is our life. So it's really about choice. So when something happens to you, when something comes up, like we're talking about negativity, when that negative thought comes up about regret, you have a choice right there. You've only got 3 seconds, though, to make that choice. Otherwise, the regret that you've experienced in the past will kick in, and then you become a victim of your regret.
Well, a lot of things, Dr. J, that we do, my opinion is many things that we do we can undo, some things we cannot. So would you suggest that we begin looking at the things that we've done that we regret, or that we haven't done that we should have done, that we regret we didn't do, that we should get off our butt and work on doing them? Is that something that might help rectify?
That's part of it. Yes, that's part of it. The point is, you see, there's a real skullduggery going on here that nobody seems to recognize. When I say nobody, I don't mean nobody, but the vast majority of the general population is not aware of the fact that the greatest enemy that they have within themselves is their mind. The mind is the slayer of the real. The mind is what gets in the way. It's paranoid. It always looks at the negative side of things. And the fact is, mind is your servant, not your God, so to speak. And this is where people fall down. And these reactions that take place within the mind is where this 3-second rule comes in. If you take command over your life and you say, no, I choose not to go down that road, then you stop the mind from doing its squirrel caging and going through that cycle of regret and remorse and all of the things that are entailed in that. and you make a choice to get out of that and to look at it realistically, to move in another direction in a way of offsetting these things that trigger the regret. And
Okay, I understand what you're saying totally. And it reminds me of talking about a person who is grossly overweight and they regret that they're grossly overweight and they want to do something about it and they don't know what to do about it or how to do it, so they usually don't do it. So they go more and more into regret, and we can put that principle with everything. So now the question is, how do we make a difference, and how do we take action when we have habituated ourselves into not taking positive action, and we follow our habituation, and it gets us nowhere? What do we do?
We have to break it.
Well, how?
It's a conscious break. It's a choice we make, and we have to use our will and our focus, and we have to do it. We have to stop talking about it, and we have to do it.
All right, I totally agree with that. 100% agree with it. But I don't think there is a simple way for most people to do it. I can tell you one way that I figured out and made work when I was a banking executive, and I was a big-time banking executive, and I had a lot of people working for our institution, and I had a lot of branch managers and a lot of department heads and people that the quality of our company was dependent upon the quality of their thought processes. And so I would constantly teach them, expose them, seminars, programs, videos, all the things that would feed their mind with things to help them form their thought processes in a way that I thought would be productive, and it worked. And one of my things was we would have management training programs, and during the whole process of time, I would play. I spent tens of thousands of dollars having recordings made that were called subliminal recordings. Wonderful music, background music, with messages going through the music that our conscious mind couldn't pick up. I don't know how they do it. It's a certain frequency or something that they do, and it becomes part of your thinking process. It changes where you are mentally and attitudinally. It literally changes you. And I used that a lot.
Subliminal education.
Subliminal education, and it made a big difference. I saw people's attitude changing, and I had some really tough people who thought that some of the things that I taught were ridiculous, and it's stupid and that's asinine, and I know they would criticize me because I would sometimes be in the boardroom, and the boardroom had a little thing that like a serving area, so you could serve from the kitchen and the cafeteria, and it had also one from the boardroom to the employee lounge. And I would open that a little crack and sit there for 2 hours during their lunch periods, and I would listen to them. And what I heard terrified me. I thought, oh my God, these people are going to go off the edge emotionally, psychologically. They're not going to make their lives work because they're so negative. They're inculcated with negativity. And that prompted me even more to put the music systems in the building had subliminal messages in them. And you know what? It really changed the attitudes of the people in that building. We had a huge building, main office in Newport Beach, big building. It was utterly amazing, and nobody ever knew it until after the fact, until I started telling. Nobody ever knew it. But it changed lives. It saved marriages. I cannot tell you the good that it did. But we can't do that on a practical level to people. So how do we help them? Because it's hard to overcome the inertia and the habit of not doing something about it. That's my
You're absolutely
challenge.
right. Even the principle of inertia is based on an object at rest tends to remain at rest. You have to go against the cycle that you've already set up. and that you've habituated yourself into.
Well, we got to think about it. If anybody has any ideas how we can help ourselves, even I used and still do hypnosis. I'm a hypnotherapist as well as several other things, from garbage collector to who knows what. But I used hypnotherapy on myself, but I couldn't do autotherapy without. I had to use in those days tapes. I had to use tapes because I wasn't very good at just letting my imagination do it for me. But the tapes helped me. I used tapes in college. I put myself under hypnosis, and I studied that way, and I learned everything I really wanted to learn. I did well in. What I didn't care about much, I just didn't bother too much. I just read and took my tests and did whatever I could. But what I really wanted to learn, I learned well, and I used that principle. I guess there's a principle any one of us can use. We just have to find out what works for us and then have a little bit of discipline to do it.
Well, one of my heroes, Einstein, he said something that I know I've said to you at least once before, but the public needs to hear it again. And this is a great, profound statement by someone that is recognized in the world as being. Einstein said this: if you want to become an expert on it, all you have to do is read about it, think about it, and dwell on it 15 minutes a day, every day, and in a matter of a few expert on that.
You have to say that again louder because you wigged in and out a little bit.
I know, that's the trouble with the phone line.
It's all right. Go ahead. Say it again.
Okay. It's based on the principle that if you want to be on any subject.
If you want to be an expert, wait. I'm going to repeat what you say. If you want to be an expert on every subject, what do you do?
On any subject.
Any subject.
Yes. All you have to do is focus on it, read about it, and study it 15 minutes a day.
Read about it, focus on it, and study it 15 minutes a day. For how long?
And in 3 months, you'll be an expert on it.
3 months.
Subject.
Okay, so read. Yeah, okay. Well, that's how I learned a lot.
It's like, one of the things that works for me, the Alice Bailey books with all of the profound, of course, that's the premier book for all the theology and all the occult mysticism and everything, and it's the primo. It's the pillar of the ageless wisdom, and it's a cornerstone. And I read it every day, and I'll tell you what, my life has changed profoundly because I read that, and I have had insights, the type of thing that.
Okay, you're wigging out. I think your battery might be dying.
Well, it's just amazing reading this kind of material, how it's changed my life. And anyone that does that, it will change.
All right, that's good advice to everybody. I hope they all heard you. If not, call in and we'll tell them what you said. You had something to say, Rodney?
Into the microphone, please.
Yeah. Could you repeat the name or names of the books that you were referring to? It sounded like Alice something. I couldn't quite.
Yes, Alice A. Bailey.
Okay.
Alice A. Bailey. It's the Arcane School of Publications. There's 24 volumes, and I heartily recommend them. The titles that I would recommend, I'll give you 2 or 3 titles.
Okay, we don't have much time. Jay, stop for a minute. We don't have a whole lot of time for that, so I want you to give us on the beginning of the show next week, and we'll call you back from the car and get it for Rodney before he has to leave and go away. But otherwise, we do have to cut back in about 30 seconds. So I appreciate your time and energy. Keep that for the beginning of the next show, okay?
Okay.
All right, good. And everybody, please take this advice. Love yourself enough to take care of your precious body, your mind, your psychological welfare, your relationships. Your relationships, very, very important. Start talking about what are your agreements together? What do you want from your relationship? How do you aim to pay the price for what you want? What are you willing to do? How far are you willing to go? Be sensitive and loving and kind to each other. Don't be negative and don't egg each other on, and don't get crazy with each other. Relationships, friendships, family relationships are very, very important. Your body's very, very important. Your spiritual life's very, very important. Give it all a few minutes a day, each segment of your life, and think about how you can do it better. God bless each and every one of you. We hope you have and make and create a beautiful week, and we'll see you all next Wednesday at 3 o'clock.
Thank you.